I want a television debate. I want a television debate with Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, Rickey Smiley versus Dr.Umar Tunde. Is the Democratic Party the party of African people? Roland Martin can join in too. If they want Roland, they can bring Roland too. I want D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, and Rickey Smiley in a debate. Is the Democratic Party the party of the American African? Somebody get Steve Harvey on the phone. Somebody get D.L. Hughley on the phone. Somebody get Rickey Smiley. Dr. Umar wants to come on y'all show and debate you 3-on-1. And if y'all need Roland to help you out, Roland can come too. We can make it 4-on-1. Steve Harvey said that the Omega Psi Phi brothers run the radio. In all respect to my Omega Psi Phi brothers, the late great Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was a member of Omega Psi Phi, so I'm not going to reduce the Omegas down to 3 men. I'm not going to do that. We're going to keep this about Steve, DL, and Rickey. Okay? Steve, DL, and Rickey. I want a debate. D.L. Hughley, will you debate me on your radio? Steve Harvey, will you debate me on your radio? Rickey Smiley, will you debate me? I'll debate all of you separately or all 3 of you together. Since y'all run black radio, and I run black consciousness, it's only right that we have a clash of kings. Y'all called the kings of comedy, right? The kings of comedy? Let's call it the kings of comedy versus King Kong consciousness. Let's call it the kings of comedy versus King Kong consciousness. Let's call it the kings of comedy versus King Kong consciousness. I'm ready right now. I don't need no prep time. I'm ready right now. Intellectual Tunde is ready right now. When we going to do this debate? When we going to do this debate? Steve, Rickey, DL, I want y'all on the stage in front of the people right now. I'm doing it for Fannie Lou Hamer. I'm doing it for Emmett Till. I'm doing it for Medgar Evers. I'm doing it for Huey P. Newton. I'm doing it for His Excellency, the Most Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. I'm doing it for the Honorable Frederick Douglass. I'm doing it for Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Amir Lott, Dante, Sonia Massey, Freddie Gray. I'm doing it for them. Let's do the debate. Let's do the debate. If Omega Psi Phi, if my brothers of Omega Psi Phi, who I love and respect, want to host a debate, it could be an Omega Psi Phi debate. You can have the purple and gold. I don't care who hosts. I don't care where it's host. I want Steve, Rickey, and DL on the same stage. Keep the same energy, Africans. Keep the same energy. King Kong consciousness versus the kings of comedy. Will the real coons please stand up? King Kong consciousness versus the kings of comedy. Will the real coons please stand up? I said King Kong consciousness versus the kings of comedy. Let's settle this once and for all. Let's settle this once and for all, brother. Oh, yes. You can fool some of the people all the time and all the people some of the time, but you cannot fool the King Kong consciousness none of the time. They bringing up Fannie Lou Hamer when the Democratic Party sabotaged Fannie Lou Hamer. Look at the hypocrisy. They don't think y'all know y'all history. They don't think y'all know y'all history. Bringing up Fannie Lou Hamer. She turned in her damn grave. She turned in her damn grave. The Democratic Party was Fannie Lou Hamer's enemy, brother and sister. It will be about both parties, but who's pushing Trump? I'm not pushing Trump, and they not pushing Trump, so we don't need to have a conversation about Trump, but we could bring it up if you like. They not pushing Trump, and I'm not pushing Trump, but we can include Trump if you want. The problem with y'all Negroes is y'all believe y'all have to belong to a plantation at all. Let me say it again. The problem with y'all Negroes is y'all believe y'all need to belong to a plantation at all. Y'all don't want to get off of a plantation. Y'all need a plantation, whether it's the Republican Party plantation, Democratic Party plantation, Green Party plantation. Y'all need a plantation. That's the problem with black folks. You need to belong. Who should I vote for? Stop begging me for the right to belong to a plantation. I'm a runaway African. I represent, where my runaway Africans at? We running away with our vote. We not staying on no damn plantation. I represent the runaway slave party. I represent the runaway enslaved African vote. We done ran off the Democratic Party plantation and we ain't coming back. We done ran off the Republican Party plantation. We ain't coming back. If you do your history, the corporation is a plantation. All of us work, right? You work at a job. You work for a corporation. The corporation is the 21st century plantation. The NBA is a plantation. NFL is plantation. Hip hop is plantation. Hollywood is plantation. Media is plantation. We still on the plantation. The corporation is the new plantation, my ninja. The corporation is the new plantation. And guess what the new slave chain is? Guess what the new shackle is? The new shackle is your paycheck. The new plantation is the corporation and the new shackle is your paycheck. The new plantation is the corporation and the new shackle is your paycheck. Talk black to me one time, Africans. I'm a runaway slave. Remember, we ran off the Republican Party plantation. We ran off the Republican Party plantation around 1930s. It's almost 2030. It's almost 2030. So if black people could give up the Republican Party plantation back in the 1930s, why can't we give up the Democratic Party plantation in the 2020s? Who with me? I want to lead a great exodus out of the Democratic Party. We will no longer be exploited. We will no longer be taken advantage. Cream of wheat, this is your land, but that is not a school. That is not a hospital. That is not a supermarket. That is not a bank. That is not a distribution network. That is not a system. That is not a solution. So when you niggas jump on here talking about this is our land. Okay, the Native Americans said that too. That's not a program. That's a slogan. This is our land. That's not a solution. I'm a pretendian. That's not a solution. That's a slogan. We're looking for solutions here. Remember, this is a live for deep thinking Africans. Let me get back to Kabamala. She was clear that the future belongs to the immigrant. She was clear that East Indians are Americans too. She was also clear that women are going to be promoted on a whole nother level to the detriment of men, especially in the black community. And she reaffirmed her loyalty to the untouchables. She made it crystal clear that she supports the untouchables, just like Obama. If you go listen to Barack Obama's acceptance speech, go listen to Barack Obama's acceptance speech in 2008 and 2012. Go listen to Barack Obama's acceptance speeches. Sound just like Kamala. And they kept pushing middle class. They kept pushing middle. Well, for all y'all who want to be pretendian, guess what? You can now be an East Indian now pretendians. Pretendians. Y'all could join up with the East Indians now because they're about to take over the black community. So all pretendians, you should go get you a dot. Go get you a dot right here. Pretendians, go get you a dot. Go get you a copy of the Bhagavad Gita. Go get you some curry chicken and join in with the Kamala movement. Pretendians, you can now be East Indians. Pretendians, you can now be East Indians. They're going to be running the show. Pretendians, you can now be East Indians. And the reason Kabamala kept talking about middle class And the reason Kabamala kept talking about the middle class. And the reason Kabamala kept talking about the middle class. That's a code word to white America that we're not talking to black people. That's a code word to white America. Listen to me. I told y'all this 8 years ago. I told y'all this 16 years ago. When they say middle class, that means not poor. We're not talking to black people coming out of prison. We're not talking to homeless blacks. We're not talking to single black mothers with children. When you hear the word middle class, that is a code word that we're not talking to black people. That's why they had them dance for you. They had them sing for you. They had Al Sharpton and D.L. Hughley and Kerry Washington and Michelle and Barack. Symbols for Negroes, substance for everybody else. 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 Brothers and sisters, I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I'm just hurt that you have black people running around campaigning for a woman who don't even care about. This woman shook her head. I'm not going to do nothing just for black people. She was so emotional in her. She could have just said, we can't only serve the American Africans. That's something we can think about. She shook her head. The 2 drops of Negro came out of Kamala. The 2 drops of ancient African DNA came out of that South Asian woman. The 2 drops of ancient African melanin came out of that East Indian woman. And she shook her head and said, I'm not going to do nothing just for black people. With emotion. With emotion. So here's what I want to say to all of y'all who consider her a black woman. Here is what I want to say to all of y'all who consider her a black woman. If she considered herself a part of us, if she considered herself a part of us, why did she answer that question in the third person? I'm going to ask you again. If Kamala Harris considers herself an American African, a Jamaican African, if she considers herself a part of us, why did she answer that question with such negative emotion and in the third person? Why did Kamala Harris, when asked what she was going to do for black people, why did she answer that question with such negative emotion and in the third person? She didn't say us. She said black people. She said y'all. And Donald Trump is no better. Donald Trump did nothing. And here's another thing. D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, Rickey, my uncles who I love and respect, no hate. This is only debate. No hate. This is only debate. I'm not here for division. If y'all going to push Kamala Harris, D.L. Hughley, if y'all going to push Kamala Harris, Steve Harvey, if y'all going to push Kamala Harris, Rickey Smiley, can you at least get a concession? This is why I'm so disappointed. I could respect you, DL, for crashing out on the convention stage if you got a single concession. What is she going to do about police brutality? Is she going to eliminate qualified immunity? Y'all keep talking about Donald Trump is going to give the police full immunity. Kamala Harris ain't saying nothing about qualified immunity. Y'all crying about Donald Trump giving the police full immunity, but y'all ain't said a word about Kamala Harris protecting qualified immunity. I ain't heard Vice President Harris say one word about getting rid of qualified immunity for police. I ain't heard Vice President Kamala Harris say one word about getting rid of qualified immunity for police. When she talks about people of color, POC, y'all think she talking about y'all. Politically uneducated American Africans. People of color. The word would not even be used if they cared about black people. Somebody answer the question. Why did they stop calling black people and started calling you people of color? Why did they stop calling black people and started calling you people of color? Why did they stop calling black people and started calling you people of color? To exclude you from the conversation. People of color does not mean black. It means everybody who is not white but is not black. People of color means everybody who is not white but is not black. People of color means everybody who is not white but who is not black. When y'all going to get over this? You must be mentally ill to champion somebody who ain't gave you a single concession. She didn't even show up to the National Association of Black Journalists invitation. Kamala Harris ain't interviewing with no black people, just like Barack Obama. They don't have to. They're going to get your vote anyway. And it looks like her sister had on extra dark makeup. When you look at Kamala Harris's sister's pictures, her and Kamala are the same complexion. And this is no disrespect to the young lady. She has a black husband, I believe. Kamala Harris's sister, they put on dark makeup. That woman is not that dark. She is not darker than Kamala Harris. Go online and look at pictures of Kamala Harris's sister. Go online and look at pictures of Kamala Harris's sister. Go online and look at pictures of Kamala Harris's sister. She is not that dark. The Democratic Party plantation made her dark. They made her snap her neck, shake her head. They made her act like a black woman on that stage. That woman is not that dark. Look at her pictures. They darkened her up. I am not disrespecting her. I respect that East Indian woman. I ain't got no problem with respecting East Indians. They are human beings. They deserve respect, but she is not that dark. They darkened her up to appeal to y'all. They darkened her up to appeal to y'all. They darkened her up to appeal to y'all. All that black music, not a word in the speech about black people. You had Mark Morial. You had Al Sharpton. You had Kerry Washington. You had D.L. Hughley. You had John Legend perform. Common Sense. I think Common Sense perform. Common Sense. I love and respect you, my brother. Did you get any concessions for black people? Mark Morial. Did you get any concessions for black people? Al Sharpton. Did you get any concessions for black people? Kerry Washington. As beautiful as you can be, as articulate as you can be, my beautiful African sister. I love you. But did you get a single concession? Why are we running around crashing out for candidates without a single promise? Uncle Steve Harvey said he was not being paid to push Kamala. Uncle Steve Harvey said he was not being paid to push Kamala. Uncle Steve Harvey said he was not being paid to push Kamala. Do you know what that means, Uncle Steve? When you say you were not being paid to push Kamala, you basically said they already own you, so there's no need for further compensation. Uncle Steve, I love and respect you, brother. I love and respect you. When you said you was pushing Kamala for free, do you know what you really said? Uncle Steve, do you know what you really said when you said they didn't pay you, you were pushing Kamala for free? You basically admitted you was already bought and sold, my brother. You basically admitted you were already bought and sold. My goodness. Here go another plantation slave. Let me tell you how you know when you found a plantation slave. You know you found a plantation slave when you speak about Kamala, they call you a Trump supporter. That's how you know you're dealing with a low vibrational, politically uneducated Negro. When you criticize Kamala, they say you must be a member of the Republican plantation. They believe all blacks are slaves. They believe all blacks are slaves. When you criticize Kamala, they automatically assume that you are on the Republican Party plantation. They don't believe that there's a such thing as a free-thinking African. They don't believe there's a such thing as a free-thinking African. They don't believe there's a such thing as a free-thinking African. You already know what the solution is. Stop asking. You just in denial. You already know what the solution is. Stop asking. You're just in denial. You already know what the solution is. Stop asking. You're just in denial. The solution is to divest, hold the vote. Demand something for it or keep it to yourself. That's the solution for the black vote. Demand something for it as an organized black power, black vote block. We need a black vote for black power block. We need a black vote for black power block. Demand something as a unit, as a race, as a block, or don't vote at all. Get something for it or don't give it away. You get something for it or you don't give it away. You get something for it or you don't give it away. Period. Point blank. End of story. But you can't do that because you've been brainwashed into believing voting for black people is an obligation to ancestors who are no longer here. Dr. King and Fannie Lou Hamer, they didn't fight for the vote so it could be used as a ritual. Voting is not a ritual. Voting is not a ritual. Voting is not a religion. Voting is not a religion. Voting is not a rites of passage. Voting is not a ritual. It's not an empty symbol. You're not supposed to vote for a symbol. Voting is not a symbol. Voting is a transaction for everybody except Africans. Voting is a transaction for everybody but Africans. Voting is a transaction. You're actually supposed to get something for it. Did you know that? American Africans? You're actually supposed to get something for your vote. And they're supposed to tell you what they're going to give you before you vote. Steve Harvey, Uncle Steve the naive Harvey, Steve naive Steve Harvey said, if we don't vote this time, we don't get nothing next time. If we don't vote this time, we don't get nothing next time. If we don't vote this time, we don't get nothing next time. Steve Harvey. We've been voting Democrat for 93 years. How many more empty elections are you expecting black people to tolerate? Naive Uncle Steve Harvey. We've been voting Democrat for 93 years. How many more empty, symbolic, ritualistic elections you want black people to tolerate, Steve Harvey, before we get something for the vote? Uncle Steve naive. I want to debate with Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, and Rickey Smiley whether or not the Democratic Party is the party for blacks. I am the president of Young Black America. I am the president of the American African Youth Movement. I represent all young black youth under 30. We're all my under 30-year-olds. Make some noise. I am the official president of Young Black America. I represent the young, fearless, intelligent, thinking for the... Where my young people at? If you under 30, make some noise. Where my silverback gorillas at? Where my under 30 brothers and sisters? African immigrants, that includes you. Latino Africans, if you identify as African full-time, that includes you. I'm talking to under 30. I'm going to have an under 30 convention We are having an under 30. I need my under 30-year-olds. Find me a place. Houston, Texas needs a convention. Houston or Dallas. We need a Texas convention for the silverback gorillas. We need a Georgia convention for the silverback gorillas. We need a Chicago or Detroit convention for the silverback gorillas. We need a New York City convention for the silverback gorillas. That's Texas, Georgia, New York, Chicago or Detroit. We need a California convention for my silverback gorillas. We need a California, and where are we going to do the sixth one at? Texas, Georgia, New York, Chicago or Detroit, California. Under 30, where y'all want the sixth and final convention at? We got to put it over somewhere in the Midwest. We got to go over there to the Midwest or the Deep South. We could do Mississippi. We could do Arkansas. I think we're going to do, but Mississippi is close to Texas, though. We could do Texas or Mississippi. Texas or Mississippi. Texas or Mississippi. Georgia or Florida. Texas or Mississippi. Georgia or Florida. New York or New Jersey. Chicago or Detroit. We got to do California. We got one more. I'm organizing under 30. Because the people over 30, some of y'all can't think. Y'all can still come support, though. We need those over 30 to be supporters of young black America. If you over 30, but we got to get the young people, y'all. Most of black America is young people. Most of black America, most of the African continent. I got to come to Africa and do a under 30 Pan-African political. Where my Africans at under 30? We're in Namibia, Botswana, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Eritrea, Malawi, Ethiopia, Madagascar, Cote d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, Angola, Mozambique. Over 30, you can support. Under 30, you are the movement. Over 30, you can support. Under 30, if y'all know of a free place we can use. If you know of a free place we can use, we need free church, free Coliseum. Come on now. Step to the mega churches. We need to use your space for free. Dr. Umar is having Bishop Turner, National Independent Black Political Movement for the under 30 American Africans. Let's get organized. I want to do it before Election Day. I want to do it before Election Day. If you live in Florida or Texas and you have a place for me, text message me. If you live in Florida or Texas and you have a place for me, text message me. If you live in Chicago or Detroit and you have a place for the convention, if you live in California and you have a place for the convention, if you live in New Jersey or New York and you have a place for the convention, if you live in Texas or Mississippi and needs to seat 500, we can't go under 500. I prefer 1,000, but we can't go under 500. Free. Free. Stop trying to hustle everybody. Free place. We're trying to save ourselves out here. Young people, get to work. My cell number, 215-989-9858. 215-9899. I'm ready for this. Let's do it for November. I'm going to block out. Let me look at my calendar right now. Y'all think I'm playing games with y'all. No, November is the election. We got to do October. November is the election. I'm going to go through my phone and block out a couple weekends. California. This is whoever gets to me first. Whoever gets to me first with a place that can seat 5. Dr. Umar, I have a place that can seat 500. You need to text me some pictures. I need to know your name. You cannot be a rainbow ganger. You cannot be a person of color. You cannot be a accommodationist, integrationist, or bunny hopper. Okay? Okay? Pan-African ethics, we standing on business. Pan-African ethics, we standing on business. 215-98, not outside, it needs to be indoor. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. I am the president of Young Black America officially. I have taken it. You cannot come to the convention if you are a bunny hopper. I don't want to see you. My under 30s, I love you. But if you bunny hopping, stay your ass home. We don't have time for that. We trying to create a new black America. A new black America for the future of the American African. If you are guilty of committing sins against the African race, you cannot come. 215-989-9858. If you have a place for me in Texas or Florida, if you have a place, if you have a place for me in Texas or Mississippi, if you have a place for me for Georgia or Florida, if you have a place for me, New York or New Jersey, if you have a place for me, Illinois or Michigan, if you have a place for me in California, and we still got room for one more, we're going to do 6 of them. Text my phone, email drumarjohnson@yahoo.com, drumarjohnson. Under 30, it's time to organize. Under 30, it's time to organize. Under 30, it's time to organize. This is your big brother King Kong consciousness. Virgo season is in. But we rocking. We rocking. Let's organize the under 30s. They are the future. Registration and website coming soon. Registration and website coming soon. Registration and website coming soon. Peace and Pan-Africanism.